thank you for coming. For the second day of IWCE show floor, and the fourth day if you've been attending a lot of sessions and things like that from our College of Technology since the week began. Thank you for coming. We have a really cool panel, and I think you're going to enjoy it. And we're going to get to it as quickly as possible. I'm going to get out of the way. Just to introduce everyone, immediately to my left, we have Scott Agnew of AT&T, Patrick Rehnquist of Ericsson, James Norton of General Dynamics, Todd Riddy of Panasonic, and Rishi Bhaskar of Motorola Solutions. The way we're going to do this, we're going to go through about three questions, the whole with the panel on some broad topics. I'm sure you're going to get a lot of varied answers and different angles of looking at things. And then at the end, we're going to have some Q&A, and we have a microphone right here in the middle of the aisle. And please come there to ask questions. But we'll let you know when the time is to get out of your seat for that. All right, so to get started, one of the big things that's happening right now that's impacting wireless, of course, is the availability of wireless broadband in a number of different ways, whether it's Wi-Fi or LTE or whatever. Have you guys talked to us about what you see as the biggest impacts, and whether it's on a commercial system or an enterprise network or something like FirstNet? Scott?
Sure. So first...
Oh, wait. Excuse me. Before we get started, this is my fault. I'm not very smart. And people who know me already knew that. First, we're going to let them talk a little bit about what it is their companies bring to the table. So Scott, go for it.
Thanks, Donnie. And yes, you are very smart. Don't say that. So Scott Agnew, AT&T. I'm the Director of Market Development. Donnie, thank you for asking me to be here. It's an exciting time in the wireless industry, and I just wanted to take a couple moments to really prime everybody in the audience about what's going on from a wireless trend perspective. So I don't really have my slides up. Go ahead and skip to the next slide. So this is AT&T releases a AT&T by the numbers every quarter just to talk about what's been invested into the network, things that are going on. Very interesting. This is all public information that you could look at. And I wanted to pull out a couple points just to give you guys just the scale and scope that's going on in this industry. And one of the items up there talks about our investment in the network over the last 6 years. It says greater than $120 billion. It's actually $140 billion we've spent over the last 6 years. AT&T is the single largest public investor in the United States. And that's necessary. About half of that is spent on the LTE network, and and the reason why it's a very competitive market, and I want to juxtapose that you guys saw what happened in the industry with about 120 to 140 price moves by various competitors. So not only do you have a lot of money that's required to keep up a network, a national network that's competitive, but you also have tremendous pricing pressures. Other things I want to point out is AT&T covers 99% of the population for broadband. That's not geography, that's population. But the real important thing there is the demand for broadband is going through the roof. I was in this panel last year, and I told everybody that data usage over the last 6 years has boomed by 50,000%. Well, it's almost exactly a year later. It's now 100,000% over the last 6 years. So the thirst and the demand for data is going through the roof. LTE is a living and breathing network that constantly has to be invested in. So hopefully, that's a primer as to the complexity and the cost that goes in, and hopefully we can get a little bit more into the technology. But Donnie, thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to this discussion.
All right, Patrick.
Thank you. Take back my stuff back. So thank you for inviting me here as well. It's been walking around a little bit on the show floor yesterday, and there's a lot of exciting technologies here. And I think that's what we see in general in the industry, and we're actually on the cusp, on an inflection point to enter a new golden age, what we call a network society. Every person, every industry is empowered to reach their full potential. We have, for a number of years, talked about more connections, 50 billion connections. We started talking about that a couple of years ago, 50 billion connections in 2020. Everything that can benefit from being connected will be connected. That's our view. And when you connect everything, and then you add information and communication technologies, ICT technologies on top of that, now you start transforming industries. You start affecting how people work, how people live, and how industries work and perform, efficiencies, etc. And that changes society. That's what we call networked society. To do this, to drive this, there's a number of innovations ongoing, and they're actually exponential. So I still want to talk about three aspects of this. So first, accelerating ICT, or information and communications technology performance. I think you all have heard about Moore's Law, and actually it is alive and well, and we see increasing improvements in performance. The smartphone is a great example of that. How the smartphone has consolidated a number of different gadgets. What you 10, 15 years ago needed 10, 15, 20 things to do, you can do with one device, the smartphone. That also brings, that you're connecting things, brings also an enormous amount of data. And we can see that how data is really getting a lot more data, not just from in terms of traffic volumes, but how your information that you get to yourself. So we see that that's growing exponentially. End-to-end Internet of Things are very well established examples of how data has grown. We can see a lot of this in social media as well, how information through social media is growing, and how that can then be tapped by a number of different industries, including public safety. And then going into the last layer, broad accessibility and usefulness. So we have an accelerating performance, Moore's Law. We have a bunch of data, a ton of data, but how do you get access to it? In the old days, you had some people in the back room that took the data and spent days, weeks, months analyzing it and coming out with reports. Today, through cloud and software technologies, things like analytics and various visualization tools, you now can get that into the hands of the users, first responders, as an example. So the importance of all these trends and these innovations are very, very important, we think, for public safety, and they are at the heart of what FirstNet needs to do. The promise of FirstNet is entering the new golden age for public safety and into the network society. So what we, Ericsson, what role do we play in this? So we make it work. That's really our mission here. And we are a market leader in a number of different areas around this transformation and the journey into the new golden age. We're a market leader in mobile infrastructure. We provide not just the infrastructure for the wireless network, the radio network, but also for the cloud infrastructure, software and hardware for the cloud infrastructure. We provide operations and business support solutions to manage and run these networks and the businesses. And we provide services to operate these networks. And we provide a number of different solutions for media and how you deliver video and other types of media on this network. We are investing a lot of money into this. We're investing about $5 million in R&D on an annual basis. We have, that has generated a number of patents. We own around 37,000 patents right now. And we want to make all that technology work for the network society and for public safety. Thank you.
All right, James.
Hey, thanks, Donnie. My name is James Norton. I'm with General Dynamics Mission Systems. Next slide. So these slides are intended to highlight a couple of projects that General Dynamics Mission Systems is currently involved in the public safety community. Down below, you can see that we have some projects currently in Adams County, Colorado, 4G LTE networks that are being deployed, as well as some recent activity in Vail, Colorado, which has received some coverage that we want to discuss here today. I think, overall, General Dynamics Mission Systems is a provider of communication systems for government users, and in this case, we look forward to talking about the public safety community, 4G LTE. I had a customer recently tell me that 4G LTE isn't just a must-have anymore; it's a gotta-have. So I think that's a big theme here this week, and certainly in 2015. Next slide, please. So some small highlights here. Adams County, Colorado is a early FirstNet pilot program just outside the Denver area, with some sites went live in the middle part of last year. And then, it's always good to know how we got here. So just a quick vignette on land mobile radio, and voice certainly is something that first responders are using today, but as some of my colleagues here said, that there's a need for data. And so 4G LTE and the requirement or need for data on government networks is certainly something that is driving a lot of discussion today. Next slide. And some discussion here on cell on wheels. So certainly as FirstNet and other networks are being deployed, tower infrastructure isn't necessarily the only way to allow for networks to be radiating. And so cell on wheels certainly is something that we have deployed in the Adams County area, we've deployed in Vail, we have in other areas, but it's another way for certainly in rural areas to receive coverage on the network. That's my last slide. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, James.
My name is Todd Brenning, and I'm very grateful and honored to be here with this panel where Panasonic is either a customer to, supplier of, or partner with most of the people on this panel. And I come from a perspective of the products that we make. Here in this industry, we supply many of the toughened laptops and notepads and video camera systems that you use in high reliability, secure communications. One of the things I'd like to do really briefly is just give you a little bit of a bigger vision of what Panasonic is doing in the United States beyond just this sector, if I could. If you move to the next slide. Patrick mentioned Internet of Things. Oops, we've got a font problem here, but that's okay. And a lot of people are wondering, well, Panasonic is a manufacturer. Do they do connectivity? Are they interested in IoT? And I'd just like to explain that we've been doing it for a couple of decades. And we do everything from small things that you traditionally think of as connected devices up to large things. To us, a 747 is a thing in the world of connected things. And if you think about, we supply most of the in-flight entertainment systems for the airline industries. And we supply the displays that you look at as you're sitting in a seat. The infrastructure inside the plane, we make the antennas, we manage the communication from the plane to the satellite to the ground. We collect the information from the teleports located throughout the world and bring them all back into a control center in California. And so we monitor every plane that's in the air flying our equipment real time. And the reason we do that is so that we can replace parts quickly and easily for the airlines. It's a high reliability challenge, not quite as maybe important as public safety. But to the airline industry, they can do everything right. The attendants are polite, the food is good, the plane is on time, the equipment works. But if you're sitting on a 12-hour flight across the ocean and you can't watch a movie, your happiness with the airline goes way down. And so the airlines hire us to manage that communications infrastructure. And we depend on many of the communication channels that we've talked about already. Just two other notes that I wanted to throw into the conversation is a couple of days ago we announced the purchase of ICT Global, which is a global provider of satellite communications to industries like mining, weather, energy industry. And so what we're trying to do is create a synergy between the satellite usage we have for our avionics business and also some of the high reliability satellite usage that is required when you don't have the advantage of a cell signal during an emergency or other situations. In that same business, we are also doing weather, which is kind of strange to think about. With our communication systems, we also install weather sensors on planes. And so we are collecting an order of magnitude more weather data in the United States than the National Weather Service does. That allows us to process the information and create much more accurate weather forecasting, which is very important for extreme weather events. And that allows us to be able to predict the landfall of a storm or a path of a winter blizzard, and will help, we hope, the municipalities decide when they should close down an airport. And just recently in the East Coast, in the New York area, we had an instance where we closed down Philadelphia, Newark, and part of JFK. And the storm just blasted Boston, but missed the rest of us. And there was several $100 million of revenue that was basically flushed because of the storm. And so weather, high reliability communications, those are topics that I think that might be interesting to this group. I'm happy to be here. The last slide is one that has to relate with the Internet of Things, and that we talk about connectivity, and several times people mention data. We think that connecting and collecting the information, we would leverage the technology that we have